What's good, internet? This is Trey Omega again, your boy OmegaSpider 227. I've got to come up with a better intro. I'm working on it. We're workshopping it. In the meantime, we're back again with story time in the stories Path of Destinies. Let's see where we were last time. Come on, let me scroll. There we go. Okay, so last time we decided let's go after the Iblis Stone. The first time I kind of screwed up and went for the armature of the Sky Ripper, and I said, well, let's move away from that and do something else. And as always, it ended poorly. The Iblis Stone corrupted Zenobia, and she destroyed the world. Then I went back to my original choice, and we went directly for the Iblis Stone. And we were going to kill Zenobia. And in the end, they gave each other. They gave their lives for each other. Of course, it was also a middling choice where Reynardo takes the stone to Calaveras and has the evil and the good split from it, but in doing so he splits the good and evil from himself. And now the powerful but nice Reynardo, the powerful Reynardo is too nice to harm another soul. The evil Reynardo is too weak to even stand. Oh goodness. There's some interesting stories here. So, let's pick up where we left off.
The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas.
One day I'm going to memorize these lines.
It was time to choose.
Without the captions
the
and all.
rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Reynardo knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong. But he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely.
I'm also still testing out the camera.
A temple had risen out of empty
So
desert.
I'll be moving it around from time to time, just trying to find the perfect spot for it.
It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it, to take its power without surrendering to its wickedness.
Also, why can't I skip any of this?
His old friend Lupino needed rescuing. Of course, Reynardo had a pretty strong suspicion that Lupino had betrayed the rebellion. And he had a gut feeling that he needed to use that to his advantage.
Lupino. I feel like we're going to be treading on old ground kind of a lot, mostly because I'm trying to avoid Lupino. It feels like the game is pushing me in a direction that says, like, hey, this might be where you can find the real truth, the real ending. I mean, there's only 4 paths left that directly involve Lupino. I'm gonna say directly involved because even the first path that involved him also involved Zenobia, but it only opened a truth about him, not her. Although it was very obvious that which one was it? Yeah. So doing this one, Zenobia and Reynardo talk. They go about running through mountains and talk, and you discover that they have feelings for each other, but I guess Reynardo himself doesn't fully believe it until you follow one of her paths, which is a little ridiculous, but whatever. So I'm trying to avoid Lupino for the time being. I don't want to completely open up all of his paths only to realize, hey, this one could be like the true ending or some mess. Like, well, I've still got another, I don't know, 16 paths to go through. I'm gonna do a math. So I'm avoiding Lupino, and we're gonna see. Oh, that is very interesting. I wonder what else I could. I'm very curious. Like, how are there so many stories that branch from just these 3 choices? I guess we'll start today going after. Here. We'll start here.
Every child knew about the Sky Ripper.
Just gotta pick one.
Emperor had
I gotta figure out a better way to
and then
keep track of this mess.
Emperor's horrific sacrifices had brought it back to the surface. Reynardo wasn't exactly sure how to use the legendary weapon. But surely there must be some way to do it without provoking another catastrophe. Had he somehow summoned the long-lost components of the legendary weapon out of the deep places of the Earth? It was more than Reynardo could fathom. But if he could find a legendary weapon, he would use it.
Loading. We are just loading.
As he set foot on the island, Reynardo couldn't help feeling a bit curious. Was Lupino still waiting to be rescued? No. He was probably drinking champagne with the ravens. Did ravens drink champagne?
Alright, let's do this.
Reynardo felt oddly thirsty, come to think of it. Why had he chosen the Sky Ripper? Reynardo never made plans that required constant vigilance. He was a hero. He didn't think too much. He just went with his gut and hoped it all worked out.
Did I just take the optimal path without thinking?
He'd have to devote himself to it. No
Not that it matters. I've unlocked everything that I can. So, minus skills, there's no need for me to open chests, but it just seems odd that I found the optimal path. Hey, welcome to the stream. Thanks for hanging in my web. It just seems odd that I found the optimal path entirely by accident, or without really thinking, but I guess I've been through that. Why do I even keep coming? Why do I even go to the workbench? I have what I need. I have everything. Wonder what this. Hey. How have I not seen this before?
Castle, he was going to hide his stuff better.
Okay, not a huge detour, but somehow I've never seen that before. Ugh. Weird-eyed gogglers. Detour.
Before I kill you guys, Reynardo said, do any of you know where I can get a smoothie around here?
Where would you even think about getting a smoothie down here?
Not trusting Zenobia's feelings for him. But how could he have known after all these years of silence?
I still feel like I missed a part of that dialogue. By taking like this subroute, I've missed the first piece of that dialogue.
When he was still a thief, Reynardo had always been attracted to the women with the biggest chests. No, that's not what I meant. To rob, I mean.
Uh-huh. I'm sure that's exactly what you meant. Whoops, this is a side path. Okay, it's been a few days. I gotta start memorizing the optimal paths. Whoop.
Hey, can you tell if someone's far away or just really small?
Ow. I hate that certain angles will still burn you. Well, I think I messed that up. Why not? That must be the third time I've done that perfectly by accident.
It was the same puzzle. He wished he had his friends here, so he could amaze them. There it was.
Wow, I got through this in record time.
Armature.
Record for me, anyway.
Dreams are made of. Engineers dreamed.
Excuse me.
The device was intricate. No one alive had the skill to make a thing like it.
One moment.
How is it part of a weapon at all? He'd have to ask a scientist. But first, he'd get the second piece. Sky River had a heart. A core that had come to rest in the next island. Well, there was another island he could reach. Zenobia had just invaded it with her father's Raven battalions. She must be encamped there still. But fighting Zenobia now, that made no sense at all. He'd already sacrificed one friend to get this armature, was it? He didn't need to hurry to face her. She would find him.
Where did this... I know where part of both of these lead, so I'm gonna go back to the original and see where, and then we'll split off from here.
It was a no-brainer. He'd sacrificed his old friend Lapino to get the armature. And the armature was useless by itself, only a series of coils.
Bye-bye, Bad Bunny.
War demanded sacrifices.
Bastard.
And he would make more before the end. He would have to choose the greatest good no matter how much it cost him. Zenobia. Well, he would see her sooner or later, across a battlefield or a sword's point before all this was over. He was sure of that. The power was in the core. Obviously, he had to get the core.
And we're back to our loading screens. Every now and then I have to check, is the mic still on? I'm real dumb sometimes.
Why had he chosen the Sky Ripper? It was the sort of path he'd always avoided. The path of responsibility, of seriousness. Had he grown up? He didn't feel grown up. He'd made this decision from his gut, like he always did. Somehow,
I haven't made this choice in a while, so I actually don't remember where the optimal path is.
Did that make any sense? These are really nice chests. You should take one home, he thought.
So I'm going to take the fun path instead, because there's always fun things when you jump down a well. Because that's just good logic. You itches, hold on.
There was something sour in the air. Like the earth had ruptured over something that had been fermenting for a very long time.
I don't think the camera can catch it, but my eyes have just widened so much. I think I found the optimal path in one shot. Ooh, how do they always cut down my combo? What?
There were fewer and fewer trees.
Okay, so maybe not the most optimal path.
Had those been here before? He no longer heard birds except for the feverish cawing of the ravens when they attacked. He couldn't smell the small animals of the forest. The mice.
How do we end up here?
Where had they
17
gone?
grand.
And he was getting hungry too. This was an unhealthy place to be.
Maybe this was a shortcut, just of a different kind. Well, really doesn't matter.
The traitors! Caught the ravens.
Oh, dead.
The 20-sided core made him feel physically sick.
20-sided.
Once he had sneaked into a temple of the dark arts, and he hadn't liked what he smelt and saw there. This felt like that. As quick as he could, he wrangled the icosahedron into the armature.
Who comes up with these names? Icosahedron.
The sick feeling quickly spun away. Now he only felt sad. He had lost good friends for this war apparatus. Maybe Lapino wasn't such a good friend.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that made him feel better. He carried his prize back to the Farfarer. Now, he had to make his next move. There was
Lapino
a
the bastard bunny
on the Nexus. If this really was some sort of super weapon, he could use it to wreak havoc on the enemy. And if it wasn't, well, better to know that before the final battle. But maybe he should show it to some scientists first. There was an observatory on the Nexus.
This is magic.
Maybe he should go there.
The eye of a god in a hastily fastened together strange spinning apparatus. Whatever. No, but seriously, we're going with the new path because it's time to see some new stuff.
Reynardo had never been much of a student. At Swordfu school, he'd never read the books, just looked at the pictures.
Really?
And Zenobia. But weapons he understood. His gut told him that
That
the
sound.
would work great.
The sound he made, that
He would use it
was...
to take out the Imperial outpost. And
I don't like the
what's
sound of
worst
that.
that could happen? The thing wouldn't work, and then he'd take it to the scientists, right? Reynardo actually could think of a few things that were worse, but he would make sure they didn't happen this time, right? Exactly.
Yeah. Let's do that. I have totally not been paying attention, as per usual, to where I am, so when this next area loads up, I'm probably going to spend a second just looking around the screen, making sure that my little box here is in a decent position. Otherwise, I'm going to have to move it back up to there. Top left. Well, for me, top right.
As he set out down the path, Reynardo wondered why the
there's nothing at any corner of the screen.
Surfaced now, thousands of years after the Transcendent Emperor had discarded it. This Emperor, Isengrim III, had performed terrible, bloodthirsty rituals to invoke the lost gods. Perhaps that was bringing up lost artifacts. How perfect, then, that the Sky Ripper would reappear to be his destruction. And, hopefully this time, just his destruction.
Style meh? I got 0 style points because I won too fast. Okay, game. That's great. Yeah, thanks for that. I'm starting to get the feeling that you're supposed to have the Void Sword last, because it seems to open up all the fastest points through, or all the fastest paths to the end. Which might explain why you get so few Void Crystals on like the first 4 runs. Because at that point, you've seen at least 3 truths. And thank goodness the staircase is actually loading this time. There's been a couple times when I get up here and I'm just walking on nothing. And that whole increased movement speed thing is great too. Actually, if I could get some of those blue pumpkins, that would be nice, instead of health from all these random chests. Don't need health when you're full healed.
He was tired of slaughtering ravens. Maybe it was time to test out the new weapon. He turned a knob on the Sky Ripper. It made strange, mechanical noises. The wheels spun faster. It began to hum. The Sky Ripper was following his every step. At least it acknowledged him as the master. But there was no trigger. How was he supposed to fire it? Fire, he said. Nothing happened. Well, maybe it just needed to warm up. After all, it hadn't been fired in thousands of years.
Whoa.
The Sky Ripper was making a whining noise now, and its wheels were spinning so fast he could no longer see them. Reynardo had a thought. Please? He asked. The Sky Ripper began to glow. Boom! The outpost burst into flame. Ravens flapped out screaming, wings on fire.
Ooh.
The base was his.
It was destroyed,
The far-speaker
but
toad came
sure.
hopping out. Reynardo! It croaked, sounding like a toad version of Zenobia. Don't use the Sky Ripper.
Maybe
It'll
bottom
destroy the
right.
world. Yeah, sure it will, cracked Reynardo. Pull the other one.
If you don't trust me, go see Calaveras.
That sounded sensible. Why did she always have to sound sensible all the time? Oh, it was infuriating. Of course she would say that. He was supposed to hurry and bring the Sky Ripper to the council so the rebels could actually win the war. But what if she was right? Damn it.
Well, I guess you've got to figure that out. And by you, I mean me. So what I'm going to do is... I have a pretty good idea of what Calaveras is going to say, so let's just go see the council. I don't go to the Rebel Base very often anyway. Not too fond of those guys, but whatever.
Just this once, he would not let Zenobia get into his head with her logic and her wisdom and her appeals to reason. He was a fox. He'd go with his instincts.
For what is reason to a fox?
Work out like it always did. Oh, he was sounding like a reckless idiot even to himself. But if there was one thing Reynardo could never bring himself to do, it was turn back on a decision he'd made.
Well then, my boy, you may be in trouble. For you are a fool.
Imperials were flapping and cawing all around the ruins. They must be panicking with rumors flying of the superweapon. Maybe they hoped to find and destroy the base before he could put the Sky Ripper into action.
That was weird. It put me in a different spot.
Whining and heating up. It will be time to use that energy soon.
Speaking of energy, when did my energy replenish? Oh, blast it. Why do I keep coming down this path? Don't put a useless door in front of me. I have no time for useless doors anymore.
Can you guys actually tell each other apart? Because I'm thinking name tags.
Ooh. That one there almost got me with an explosion, but not quite. Actually, probably would have if the Sky Ripper hadn't detonated him early. Not gonna break my combo.
That was awesome!
He wondered if the Council knew he destroyed the outpost. He hoped so. He was excited. With his superweapon, they could actually win their battle with the Imperial fleet.
You say their battle like you have no stake in this. Like you're just a passing by sky pirate.
What was Zenobia talking about? This was a fantastic weapon. Ravens burst into flames with just a touch of its killer beam. He was tempted to leave it on all the time, but he didn't want to accidentally slice off some council toad's head or tongue. She'd been trying to distract him. Well, this time, no one was going to distract him.
Have I read this one? Punish terror. Yep, I've read this one. Whoa, that was weird. Which gem do I have? Energy on kill. Now let's swap physical resistance for attack speed. I think this might be the winning combination, everybody. I can keep using energy so long as I keep taking them down. It'll just replenish my energy.
Barely landed a claw on him.
Oh, come on. I went the other way specifically to avoid this. But speaking of avoid...
Stairs. So he was close to the rebel base. Nothing was on fire. So far, so good.
I gotta stop coughing in the mic.
As he headed towards the council chamber, Reynardo felt everyone watching him.
"You've saved the rebellion," said the council speaker. "Frankly, we were afraid you'd turn aside to save that idiot Lapino."
Not bloody likely, Reynardo told them, feeling he was maybe being a bit harsh on the poor mad rabbit.
If you
No!
never make sacrifices, he said, you're probably not doing the right thing. The speaker nodded.
"Are you ready to lead the charge?"
Let's roll, he said, with grim satisfaction. Reynardo set sail for the fleet.
Why does he suddenly sound like an action movie hero?
As if it had taken some
The
time
cliche
to
kind.
sink properly. He had always been irresponsible. This
Ah,
time,
my hands are
done the
freezing.
right thing, made the hard decision. He was a real hero. He hadn't let himself be distracted by old friends or old lovers turned enemies. Finally,
Distracted.
he could be proud of himself.
But can you, lad? Well, that looks real bad. I just spent like a good 20 seconds staring
He
at my
was ready.
watch.
So was Skyripper. The Skyripper had a will of
Crap.
its own. It picked out its own targets and set them on fire.
This was going to be a short battle. He would set the ships on fire if he didn't need them to get to the Emperor. And he wondered if he'd see Zenobia, or if she'd flee. Wouldn't she be proud of him? At least, a bit of respect. He'd become an all-conquering hero.
There it was again. The back door to the portal that went to the center of the fleet.
So I was right. These purple doors lead almost directly into the heart of wherever I need to be. Which is probably why you get the Void Sword last. Is that really necessary?
There was a parchment on a signpost. It was from her. Every time you fire, you risk the destruction of the universe. That's insane. We surrender.
Come again?
He'd done it. He'd played chicken with Zenobia and won. He could hear the horns blaring the retreat. She was wiser than he was, that was for sure. But wisdom didn't win battles.
Wow. So, what happens now? Hey, let me on that ship. Don't you say you retreated, or you surrendered?
Boy, with this device he could travel at night, so long as there are ravens to set on fire.
I forgot about the buff ravens, the ones that strengthen their allies. I gotta take them out faster than that.
Reynardo wondered how his laundress was going to get all these bloodstains out of his tunic.
Yeah, I came out of that one with even less health. Not gonna get me this time. Okay, so we're not going straight to the Emperor's ship. This is different. Where in the hell am I? There's the grand ship right there, so whose vessel is this? Ah, I see.
And there was Zenobia, wearing the white robes of surrender. She came and kneeled before him. Why didn't you listen to me? I was trying to save you too. You're the enemy, you said. I was never your enemy, Reynardo.
Okay,
And
definitely need to
you
move the
realized, not for the first time, how much she loved him.
definitely need to
Then
move the
she
camera.
spoke a terrible word and made a gesture with her hand. She stopped moving, covered in frost, and he wondered why she'd frozen herself. Then the Sky Ripper froze, and then, for a moment, he felt very cold and discovered that he couldn't move. The next thing he knew, the sun was a giant, monstrously red. It took up half the sky, and he was in a parched red desert. And then he was on fire.
Oh, again?
But he already had all the secrets he needed.
He was sure of that. He must have not used them the right way. What was the best, worst mistake he could make?
Probably trusting that traitor
Reynardo
Lupino.
Nukem. I like that one. See, it seems to be so heavy-handedly pointing me in Lupino's direction. Well, we wrapped that one up remarkably quick, actually, so maybe we got time for another one. I'm surprised that how did that not become one of the... okay. Well, whatever. I'm not actually reading all this. froze for billions of years until the sun evolved into a red giant. Wow. Okay. Real quick, like I said, I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to move myself in this whole spot here, and I'm going to find someplace else that doesn't quite seem so obtrusive. Okay, I think that works a little bit better. Well, we'll see. Alright, so like I said, I think we got time for one more story. We really wrapped that one up very quickly.
The book's pages fluttered to the beginning once again.
Let's see what else we can discover.
And he fell. The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced.
I still can't skip this. Good God.
Using it could go catastrophically wrong.
Catastrophic.
He was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also,
almost did.
Temple had risen out of empty desert.
Good job there.
The Iblis stone was hidden there. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it, to take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. And also, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Of course, Reynardo had a pretty strong suspicion that Lapino had betrayed the rebellion, and he had a gut feeling that he needed to use that to his advantage.
Your gut seems to get you killed quite often, so... You know what, just this time, let's see what Reynardo thinks he can do with Lapino.
Reynardo finally realized that Lapino was a traitor to the cause, and maybe Reynardo could use that somehow.
What? Whoa, what is... But he was prepared to forget about that. Get out of here! His treason was all just a fluke due to unfortunate blah blah blah. He should just rescue his friend and forget anything bad had happened. Wow, why is that even an option? It's probably an option because there are stories behind that. Oh my goodness. Wow. I must look like an absolute moron, just freaking out over every new little story tidbit that shows up, but like, this is genuinely interesting to me. Because these stories reveal themselves in ways that most other games don't. Anyway. I still feel like there's one more path to take, one more branch down this path, but for now we're actually going to we're going to dive headlong into this new thing because this looks real good.
Reynardo couldn't quite put his paw on when he'd realized Lapino was working for the Empire. He'd never exactly seen Lapino sending coded messages to the palace, but he was sure. The rabbit had been on too many disastrous missions where he was the only survivor, or where he accidentally missed getting on the boat that went down to the abyss in flames. If Reynardo could prevent Lapino from getting back to the fleet with all the intelligence he'd probably gathered, it might be worth the trip.
Reynardo, you're finally learning. Well done, lad. Took you forever. Still cold in here. Still just real cold. Gotta adjust real quick.
How had they come to this? They'd been on so many adventures together. Lapino had talked Reynardo out of prison at least 4 times.
And Reynardo had rescued Lupino from at least 2 lynch mobs.
Wow. It's one heck of a friendship you got there, man. What if I just use this out here? Woo!
Felt that the rabbit resented him. Lupino was hilarious because he was so down on himself and everyone else. But behind the laughs, he wasn't a happy camper. Ooh, was this payback? Or did the Empire have his little white tail in a vice?
Reynardo seems to finally be thinking deeper.
Said the lead raven.
Ravens were landing everywhere from dropships. He'd better get moving. If they got to Lupino first, the rabbit would give the Empire all the intelligence he'd been stealing from the rebellion, and they'd probably give him a medal. He'd have to be very careful about how he played Lupino. At the slightest hint of danger, the mad rabbit would take off like a rabbit.
Okay, so this section I actually recognize, and that tells me I should have jumped down the well because I know where that well leads. But that's fine. That just means it's going to be a bit prolonged. It takes surprisingly long to build all this up.
Haven't you always wanted to do that?
Lupino would betray him. The core was dangerous. Yeah, Reynardo had a fleeting idea that the two ideas went together somehow. And then it was gone again. Ah, damn ideas. They never stuck around when you needed them.
Lupino and the core.
Bloody and exhausted, Reynardo finally reached Lupino. The rabbit was practicing shuffling his favorite deck. Now that he knew what the rabbit was, there were a few things about him that Reynardo didn't find so amusing anymore. You sent me an urgent message saying that you're in danger. Oh, I am. The ravens are coming. Now, I got a clever plan to kidnap Zenobia. Reynardo wanted to clap shackles on the rabbit and shout, "You're a traitor, and I'm not falling for it." But if there was one thing Reynardo was sure of, it was that the core of the Sky Ripper was dangerous mostly to its user. If he could put it in the Emperor's hands, old Isengrim III might blow himself and his fleet up with it. Yes, that was it.
What is this music? This is not tense at all.
Reynardo felt like a real hero, brave and smart. He told the rabbit all about the Sky Ripper's God's Eye core.
I'll go get the core while you attack Zenobia.
He told the rabbit.
Oh, wait, I've an even better idea. I'll get the core and you attack Zenobia,
Said the rabbit.
Right, yeah, that is better.
Agreed Reynardo. Perfect. The traitor would make sure the Emperor got the core. Now Reynardo just needed the Emperor to use the core. If he could only get something that the Emperor wanted very badly. Zenobia. He could save her and bait the Emperor at the same time.
Now this is finally getting interesting. No longer treading on old ground. I feel like I use that phrase a lot. Gotta come up with new phrases. Note to self.
Right. Now, all Reynardo had to do was fight his way through Zenobia's invading troops, sneak onto her ship and into her bedroom, and kidnap her without any of her dozens of guards alerting her. Then, he would rely on her love for him to convince her how evil her father was, so she'd run away with him instead of going back to her father, who was going to blow himself up. It did sound a little risky. But Reynardo had a feeling it would work out somehow. It did.
A little risky, he says. There's no banister. I could just walk right off. Ugh. Why do I always come over here? This area has nothing I need. Well, okay, that's not true. I suppose this time I do need some health.
Hey, who do I have to kill to get a drink around here? You? Okay.
I'm a little bit annoyed it's taking me this long to really get the feel for this combat. And I mean, like, to not get my face smashed. I'm just gonna avoid those chests. I don't need them. Down we go. I'm pretty sure this is the one I know. Pretty sure. Yep.
Ha! Bet you never saw that coming.
Yep.
Reynardo was halfway to Zenobia's encampment when Lupino showed up. He was disheveled and distraught.
They jumped us. I barely got away. Oh, they got the core.
Ooh, it was all going according to plan, thought Reynardo. Now he just needed Zenobia on his side. Yes, that was even better. The Iblis Stone. Zenobia could get it.
No.
And then the Emperor would have to pursue
You know
him.
where that goes.
Wait. No. The gem would corrupt anyone. Even her. That's it, he thought. Even Lupino. even though Lupino was already a traitor. It would turn him against his secret master, the Emperor. He would try to make himself Emperor. And the Emperor would have to defend himself with the core. Boom. He was a super genius.
I need this plan to fail because I feel like I'm on the optimal path and I've been trying so hard to avoid the optimal path, but I can't resist it.
This is terrible, Reynardo told the rabbit. If only I had gone for the Stone. But now it's lost in enemy territory. He handed Lupino a map. It gives the bearer so much power. We can only hope the Emperor never finds it. What was that? Said Lupino. I think someone's following us. I didn't hear anything. Rabbit ears. You go on ahead. I'll check it out. And with that, Lupino hopped off with the map.
I seriously feel like this is the optimal path, and if it is, I'll probably enjoy it, but I will be disappointed in the end because I still want to see all the paths. Stupid mustache. Reynardo. I don't know, I almost feel like I'll be disappointed if this fails, though.
Reynardo slinked through Zenobia's ship, making no sound at all. She was curled up on her bed.
Hey, wait, wasn't this a trap last time?
She was. How sleek, how soft. He tapped her on the shoulder with his sword. She was made of smoke, and he noticed he had a very solid blade to his throat. Did you really think you could capture me? Heard a familiar voice. I just wanted to chat, said Reynardo. Did you ever wonder
that face, though.
why the Emperor adopted you? He needs a sacrifice. Someone who truly loves him, to make a bargain with the lost gods. That's a vicious lie. He wants to bring them back. That's crazy. Why would anyone... They could make him immortal. An eater of souls. And with that, her eyes widened. She understood. Reynardo told her how he had rescued a priest whose order had been massacred. How he had slept in a burnt village. At midnight, the Emperor's victims had come to him in his dreams to tell him of the hideous eldritch rituals they'd been sacrificed in. He could still see those kittens and puppies. Their wide, sad eyes, their moist noses. You can't prove that. I've got a witness at the observatory.
This all seems to be going too well for Reynardo. There must be a point where, like, the monkey wrench just destroys all his plans. But we'll see.
He couldn't tell her, not yet, why he was really here. He didn't want her to be anywhere near
Warn
the fleet
Zenobia
when her
about
father blew
Daddy.
himself and Lupino up. So he told her about how the Emperor's obscene rituals had raised ancient artifacts out of the land. How he'd followed the appalling trail of the hideous horrors His Majesty had perpetrated for the sake of his own immortality. Any of this ring a bell? He said. He told me it was all lies. You've always known when I was lying. I always hated that about you, said Reynardo. The rebellion had started after atrocities that the Empire hushed up.
Reynardo had rescued a priest whose order had been massacred for one book. He had slept in a burnt village. Dead kittens and puppies had come to tell him what the Emperor had done to them.
That's just wasting more time. Am I really about to make all the right choices completely by accident? Game, don't guide me too much. Don't guide me to the true ending too early. Come on, Reynardo, slip up. I'm actually rooting for Reynardo to slip up. But he's making all my, or rather, I'm making all his choices, so. Don't think about it.
Don't you think I'd know if my father started practicing black magic? Why? Would you join in? No. I'd destroy his books and I'd... Oh, God. Okay. You're not completely wrong. They've resurrected one of his victims. Well, look, I mean, look, it's not exactly alive, but it can talk. A true witness, she said.
Why do they capitalize true witness? It just seems strange. Come on, connect to a visible landmass. Yes! This is the one that usually ends up glitching and is invisible, and I'm just running on air. I really ought to clip one of those before the archives vanish. Oh, I hate this so much. And how's it I've never been back there? Of all the alternate routes I've taken, I've never been behind these cannons. I have to fix that.
You can't really reason with an energy ball, he thought.
No, waited too long. Oh, come on.
Reynardo checked to make sure his sword was still working. Yep.
Works like a charm, kid. Okay, now I need health. La 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 la. Oh, well, something finally went wrong. The observatory is in ruins. Tiny fat toad body. I'm sorry, the toads, the way they make the toads look in this game is just hilarious and almost adorable. They're just so tiny.
The observatory was a burning hulk. Dead scientists and black feathers everywhere. The Ravens had taken special care to burn the reanimated witness to cinders. Zenobia
Well, that's disgusting.
stared at the carnage. He didn't want me to hear the witness, did he? I guess not. What's your plan? She asked. So, Reynardo explained his brilliant gambit. Sending Lapino to get the Ibla Stone, become super powerful and corrupted, provoke the Emperor into using the core against him, thus blowing up both of them, and hopefully the fleet too. "Let me visit your council," she said, shaken. "I want to help." Could he really trust her?
Well, wait, what's the other option? Why meet her there? Just take her.
Zenobia see how evil her father really was. He wished she didn't feel this urge to join in the rebellion. After all, he'd taken care of the Emperor, right? Yeah, but she'd always been conscientious like that. She told him she had to go somewhere first. So Reynardo gave her the location of the secret base, and they agreed to meet in the ruins. He had a very good feeling
As cold as I am on
about
the
this.
outside, I'm actually sweating under this jacket.
What had Zenobia gone off to do? What was more important than meeting the rebel council? Had he made a mistake, sending her to the ruins? No. He knew they could trust each other. He could trust her because she never broke her word. And she could trust him because she could see right through him. Well, she'd probably be there well before him. She at least didn't have to fight her way through rainstorms of ravens.
Whoa! I walked right into that.
He thought about Hypatia. Oh, she'd been an amazing rabbit.
What?
She could talk to him about comics, and talk to her son about history and battles, and talk to scholars about the ancient tomes hidden deep in the vaults of the library of Ubar. Oh, Reynardo really missed her.
Well, Red. Why does she keep coming up when he comes here? I think I love the music in this section because it reminds me so much of Kingdom Hearts. Or perhaps I just really miss Kingdom Hearts. Whoops, should have just gone straight down.
How could you convince a firewall you're its friend?
Is there nothing else up here?
how portals never told you where they went to? I mean, it would kill them to put up a sign or something?
That was a waste. But I suppose it's only necessary because there's only one real man, you bastards.
As he came around the bend, there was Lupino, unconscious on the side of the path. And Reynardo could smell a familiar, sweet, smoky scent. Who? Zenobia. It had to be. She never used a combat spell when she could use drowsy gas. That meant she had the Iblis stone. What would it do to her?
Oh shit.
She hated her father now. She'd kill him for sure. The council wouldn't mind if she killed the Emperor, but murdering her father would destroy her. He had to get to whatever ledge she was on and talk her down from it.
Really?
Reynardo felt surprisingly unwounded.
How did that somehow have more style than me just completely cleaving through like 6 ravens in almost one go, or one swing?
These things really slice like ham.
I don't even want to think about that.
The long stairs.
Goggler ham.
So he was close to the rebel base. Nothing was on fire. So far, so good.
Of all the things that change from point to point, why is that one line the same every time? What?
Reynardo was surprised that he didn't feel more pain. Just a bit dizzy. Ooh.
Yeah, well, you should be feeling some pain. You've got 1/4 of your health, kid. I was gonna leave this door alone, but seeing as I royally bungled that last fight, I kinda need to go in here. Nothing.
Reynardo could feel his wounds closing. It was weird.
Magic fruit. I'm not sure why Lupino would be here.
Dead. Zenobia stood shivering in the courtyard, drenched in blood.
Okay, well, something fucked up.
They started arguing with me. I lost my temper and I wanted their blood. Not me. The stone did. Why did you take it from Lupino? I had a plan. You had a stupid plan, she said. I'm going to go kill my father now. No, you can't. You'll just take his place. You'll become worse than him. Get out of my way, or I'll kill you too. You won't kill me, he said. And I won't let you kill the Emperor. Enraged, she raised the sword. You hate him too? He could sense the Inra Stone, yearning for his death. But she didn't strike. If you kill him, he'll destroy you. I know you. Shut up! She shouted, her sword trembling. I won't lose you again. Not for anything. Get away from me, he said, and he was very close. I can't lose you again. And he was in reach of her sword now. I hate him! I hate you too! I love you, he said for the very first time. And then she was weeping. He was holding her. The sword had dropped from her hand. He glanced at the Ibla stone. It was no longer the black of the void. It looked like coal. No. It glowed. Like a cinder. It was crackling, burning, crumbling into ashes. You've always loved me, haven't you? She said. She was weak. The stone had taken so much from her. Always, he said. She staggered as he helped her up. Let me take you away. Where? The island of Avalon. The sisters will heal you. He'll follow us. Then we need the Farfarer, the fastest ship in the Empire.
No, I have no idea where this is gonna lead. My hands are freezing. Yes, they are.
They'd have to take it back. Reynardo had a feeling that was the back door to something. But what?
Oh, you already know. Don't play.
And there it was, his beautiful skycraft, the Farfarer. They would fare very far indeed, beyond the Empire, beyond the reach of the Empire, to the mystical island of Avalon. He didn't know exactly where it was, but he knew he could find it. And they would find peace there. Second star on the right, and straight on till morning.
What?
Laughed Zenobia. And they laughed together for the first time in a long time.
I really love some of the references in this game. No, give me that. I forgot I only have so many dashes. I screwed that one up. This chair is awful. Damn, let's see if I get out and fly it. What? What the fuck was that? Even if I die with full magic, it always starts me with half everything. Wow, that was massive.
But they did not go unnoticed.
Fuck.
Scout ships lifted off, and along
Okay,
lines
well,
of the Imperial
whatever.
flagship. Reynardo turned downwind to gain speed. The Raven ships could pursue, but they couldn't close. The far speaker croaked, "You return her and live!" "Go sacrifice yourself," yelled Reynardo. "Then you won't have her either." On the flagship, the Emperor was readying some arcane weapon. It couldn't be. It was the core.
Oh, damn.
A devastating beam lanced out of the flagship. Reynardo zigzagged wildly to keep the Farfair out of it. Now the Raven scout ships were closing the distance, and the beam was getting closer too. Then came a blinding flash, and the air was searingly hot all around him. There was a thunderous, deafening roar. He could smell burnt oak and burnt feathers and burnt flesh. But when he could hear and see again, they were alive and unhurt. And they were alone in the sky. Zenobia embraced him.
Hey there, welcome
They
to
had
the stream.
done it. Through luck and through love, they had won the war. "Avalon, here we come," he said as he held her arms wide in the prow of the boat and let her feel its speed. "Maybe the real Avalon is wherever we're together," she said. And so, after a bit of an argument, Reynardo and Zenobia went to one of the two Avalons. The one shrouded in mists, or the one in their hearts. But which one they went to, I'll never tell. He'd done it. He'd forged his own destiny. Well, he hadn't actually done it, but he knew what he would do. Reynardo smiled at the book. He practically wanted to kiss it.
The kid's
Bloody
sacrifice
damn
hadn't
it.
been in vain. He'd saved the book and saved the world. Reynardo owed him and his mother so much. Reynardo lowered the mainsail and let the Farfarer shoot forward in the breeze. Second star to the right, and straight on till morning. This time, he would win.
That was actually pretty good. I really don't know what to do now. I saw it coming. I knew once I picked Lapina that somehow I would be on the path to the true end. And I was kind of hoping somewhere I would slip up. Okay, maybe this is the wrong thing to do. Especially when I saw Zenobia had the Iblis, I was like, okay, maybe that's where I fucked up. Nope, still made the right... Fuck! Made all the right choices, even though I was trying not to. Julian Casey, voice of the narrator. Great narrator. Alex Epstein, Nadim Bokir, great writers. Well, I guess that's where we're gonna end the stream for today. I might be back to do the secondary paths. I likely will. In the meantime, well, yeah, I likely will be back to do the secondary paths while I'm also looking for... Did I say Patrick Klepek? Sorry, I thought I saw Klepek. Anyway, I'll be back to look through the to see all the secondary paths, and while I'm doing that, I also look for my next game to stream. It'll probably again be something small, an indie game, something that's known but not like possibly known but not... Oh, it's active. Known but not terribly widespread. In the meantime, I guess we'll end the stream here for today. Maybe we'll be back tomorrow, maybe we'll be back next week, I don't know, we'll see. But thanks to anyone who joined the stream. If you want to keep up with me, you can find me Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, anywhere across the internet at OmegaSpider227. Basically just Google it and you'll find me. You can also find anything that I'm doing. I've got a personal blog where I kind of write about news. I really need to get back to it. That's OmegaSpiderWebs.com. I think that about covers it, so until next time, I'll catch y'all later. Thanks for hanging in my web.